Hello. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Day 3 of the last principle toward success, the last step toward riches, the sixth sense, the door to the temple of wisdom, the 13th step toward riches in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. We're on the last one. I can't believe it. Week 13. Yesterday, we talked about imitating our heroes, people that we look up to, taking what we like and leaving the rest, building our self-image, using the things that we like in other people that have already figured it out, using them as a guide, a path, so we don't have to start from zero. We don't have to be lost. Because what we like in other people, we're attracted to that, and that's okay, but we have to make our own. So when I was using the words like, imitate, copy, I mean that in the sense of until you formulate your own way. And I think you understood what I was saying. He goes on to talk about building character through autosuggestion. We had a whole week on autosuggestion, the importance of suggesting to ourselves. It's our self-talk. What are we suggesting to ourselves? We have self-talk every single day, 24/7. Is it negative or positive? So autosuggestion is a suggestion from yourself to yourself, and it's really great to create good suggestions, right? Mantras or affirmations. And we've talked about that before, writing on your 3x5 card, repeating it to yourself every day. Have it be like a song in your head, a melody to play over and over, because we are playing things over and over, but usually it's stuff that are just random from the outside, sound bites from other people. He goes on in full description of his routine, which we talked about yesterday, of calling in all the people, all his heroes, to a conference table to have a discussion with them and imagine it like an exercise of the imagination. He goes on to say, building character through autosuggestion. Napoleon Hill says, being an earnest student of psychology, I knew, of course, that all men have become what they are because of their dominating thoughts and desires. I knew that every deeply seated desire has the effect of causing one to seek outward expression through which that desire may be transmuted into reality. I knew that self-suggestion is a powerful factor in building character. That is, in fact, the sole principle through which character is built. He said, I knew that self-suggestion is a powerful factor in building character, that it is, in fact, the sole principle through which character is built. We are what we say we are. We build our self-image, our character, through our thoughts and through our words. I've said this many times. Look at Muhammad Ali. He said all the time, I am the greatest. I am the greatest. Think of the athletes, runners, basketball players, baseball players, football players. Look at Tom Brady this past Super Bowl. What do you think his self-talk was? Our words have power, and we can feel them when you're beating yourself up, when you're ruminating, when you're in regret. That feels like crap, right? He said, with this knowledge of the principles of mind operation, I was fairly well armed with the equipment needed to rebuild my character. In these imaginary counseling meetings, I called on my cabinet members for the knowledge. I wished each to contribute, addressing myself to each member in audible words as follows. This is kind of what I said yesterday. He said, Mr. Edison, I desire to acquire from you the marvelous understanding of nature which distinguishes your life. I ask that you make an impression upon my subconscious mind of whatever qualities you possessed, which enabled you to understand and adapt yourself to the laws of nature. He goes on to each cabinet member and what he would say. For example, Napoleon, I desire to acquire from you by emulation the marvelous ability you possess to inspire men and to arouse them to a greater and determined spirit of action. Mr. Lincoln, I desire to build into my own character the keen sense of justice, the untiring spirit of patience, the sense of humor, the human understanding, and the tolerance which were your distinguishing characteristics. So I would get all of my heroes, my cabinet members, and I would imagine having a board meeting with them and really sit here and do this. Like we sit for meditation or prayer. Maybe we don't, but it's kind of the same. You can sit for this guided imaginative exercise, talking to your heroes, the people you admire, and telling each one of them what you want to incorporate into yourself. Build your character. We build our character every day. Life is a movie. You're the character. Are you the star of your movie or are you the extra? Are you the background? So he goes on to say what he asks each of his cabinet member for, what trait he wants. And he was saying that he did it for months. He said these meetings became so realistic that I became fearful of their consequences and discontinued them for several months. The experiences were so uncanny. I was afraid if I continued them, I would lose sight of the fact that this was just a pure exercise of the imagination. Because our mind, once we allow it to open up and imagine and have play, our mind does amazing things. Think about when you dream at night, the wild things that come into our minds. Or even when we're sitting there, waiting for, our car to be washed, or just sitting on a bench, just passing time. The random thoughts, our imagination, when we let our imagination run wild. And he talks about it kind of overtaking his subconscious, him getting answers from these people. He says, this is the first time that I've ever had the courage to mention the activity he's done. He said, I remained quiet because I knew that people would think I'm crazy, that people would think he's crazy. And he said, lest I be misunderstood, I wish here to state most emphatically that I still regard my cabinet meetings as being purely imaginary, but I feel entitled to suggest that while the members of my cabinet may be purely fictional and the meetings exist only in my own imagination, they have led me into glorious paths of adventure, rekindled an appreciation of true greatness, encouraged great creative endeavor, and emboldened the expression of honest thought. If you didn't remember the exercise, go watch the video from yesterday. We talked about getting your heroes, your cabinet members, hi Jim, and sitting and having a 5-minute meeting before you go to bed. Okay, this is what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm going to need your help. This person, you have great, Brendan Burchard. I love Brendan Burchard. You know what? I'm going to have a cabinet meeting tonight with all of the motivational people. At my table, I'll have Brendan Burchard, Bob Proctor, of course, Napoleon Hill, Tony Robbins, Les Brown. I'll do those 5. And each of them have a skill I really love, or a quality that I really love. I love Bob Proctor's spirituality of it, his connection with spirit, body, mind, to the universal intelligence, to God. I love Tony Robbins, his motivation, how he gets into his body. And if you've ever been to one of his things, he makes you jump up and down and just really shake up your energy, your physical energy. Brendan Burchard, I have his planners. I love how he talks about getting things done. Les Brown, oh my God, I love him. The power of stories. He's so funny. The power to communicate a story powerfully. So I would just have a discussion with them, and yeah, that'll be fun. Who's in your cabinet? And he goes on to talk about just goes into detail about what he asked and about how the power of the imagination, how it took him on a journey. He did it every single night. Try it for a week. Try to have your cabinet meetings each night until next Wednesday. Try that. That's really interesting. So he talks about using our imagination, our higher faculty, and about autosuggestion, building your character by taking the qualities of people that you admire and incorporating them. And it's never too late. He was saying in here, I realized I wanted to change my character, change how I showed up in the world, change the way I see myself, the way I think of myself, and the way I think in general, the way I create. And we can do it today. If you don't like how things are going, you can recreate and rebuild your character any moment you want. And he was also saying, yeah, I didn't tell anybody about this because people think I'm crazy. He said, but now I don't care. He was talking about maturity with age. We just don't care what other people think because what works for us is what works for us. As long as it doesn't hurt anybody else, it's fine, especially if it's working for you. And by you being your best, you help serve the world better. And we need more people like that. I'm working on it. And I know everybody who watches this is. That's why you're here, to learn to be a better version of yourself. So start tonight, have a cabinet meeting with all of the people that you admire and ask them what you want from them. What trait do you want from them? And just visualize it. Use your imagination. Picture them sending it to you and you just absorbing it. And just using that as an imaginative exercise. It's really fun. I'll do it. I'll tell you, I'll do it tonight and then I'll report back my experience. Oh, and then he goes on to say he changed his cabinet members. And Bob Proctor does this too. He said he has, who did he have at his table? Napoleon Hill and Earl Nightingale for sure. And I think it was for him. We can ask people for advice. I mean, I don't know if you've had grandparents or parents or friends that have passed away. And if you find yourself like, God, I really miss your advice. Like, what would you do? And just having that discourse with somebody inside, like in your soul, in your mind. And we use our imagination. Like, what would my mom say? And even if she's not around, if she's busy. And I would say, they say, what would Jesus do? Hello. When you tap into that consciousness, even if the people are dead or alive, like like if you're in an interview, who do I love? I think Oprah's pretty good. I mean, when she is in an interview, like what would she do? What would she say? How would she respond? Think about that before you want to jump and respond to anybody or act out. Or what would this person do? I really like how they handle their lives. I like how they handle conflict. Anyways, he said he had like Jesus, Buddha, different people at his conference table. Can you imagine? And we talked about the brain, the power of the brain last week. What if we could tap into, we do have that collective consciousness. What if we could tap into all the information we ever needed and ask questions? Like, what would this person do? Help me. And just go inside. Go inside and know yourself better and ask for the help you need. And I think we would be surprised. I love Robert A. Russell. He's an author. He wrote You Too Can Be Prosperous. He talks about us talking to our subconscious mind, that we have all the answers. We can really tap into it if we get quiet and make the time to ask. He was talking about Einstein and Edison and any great inventor, how they would be at the board writing or trying to figure something out. And they would just go for a walk and trust. They would ask a question and then trust the answer would come, and it'd always pop up like toast, he said. And I've done that before too. I remember I had to create a name for my production company and I had 1 billion written out. And I was like, when it'll feel right when you're thinking of something, it'll hit, it'll pop up like toast. So I remember I went on a walk. I said, I know you have the perfect name for my production company, and because I had to LLC it and patent and all this. And it's like, I ain't trying to spend money on something I don't feel good about or doesn't feel right or I don't like. And so I was like, I'm going to go for a walk. I am so grateful that the perfect name that feels good, sounds good, looks good. And just, I know it's the right one. I know it's there. And thank you in advance. It'll pop up like toast. So I went on a walk and I was like, yes. And then I found it. I don't know if it was that day or the next day, but it'll just pop out to you. So trust your subconscious self, your higher self. Just tap into that inner voice, use your imagination, ask for help, look towards people you admire. And yeah, I look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. And we're almost done and I'm excited. Like I said, I posted in here the link to the Zoom Thursdays during March. It'll be 4 consecutive Thursdays, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to meet on Zoom. Join it. Don't be scared. We're just going to have a conversation of, well, I'm going to be teaching the first 4 lessons, a version of them. It's going to be goal oriented, something you want to change, a habit, something you want to accomplish before April, just something we can do in March together. And we'll do mindfulness. I'll take you on some guided mindfulness exercises that I learn in my therapy practice, which are always so nice. But when can we ever do that? I think community is really good. So I hope you join me Thursdays in March, 5 p.m. Pacific. The Zoom link is in here. I'll continue to post it. Message me if you want me to send it to you so you can add it to your calendar, or just click on the link. I posted it yesterday for Mindset and Mindfulness Thursdays with me. Zoom link live, all of us together as a community, working on our goals, our dreams, our habits, things we want to change, and just being mindful. I look forward to it, and I will see you guys all tomorrow.